Our colleague Mr Agnew wants to make a point on the agenda.
It is a point of order, Mr Chairman. Outside it says this meeting is web streamed. The last meeting I attended here in Brussels for this committee, it also said it was web streamed. When I looked at the recording of my particular interventions, the camera was not fixed on my face, but it was fixed for virtually the entire period on the face of a young lady sitting behind me to my left somewhere. I don't think it was that particular young lady. I felt that that considerably reduced the effect of what I was saying. I complained via our group structure to the Secretariat, and they said that in some of these meeting rooms there are dead spots, places where the camera simply doesn't point. I would request that I am never placed in such a spot again. I have chosen my spot here, which I am taking a chance that it is a live spot. I wonder if you could reassure me that that is the case. Thank you.
Well, this is a problem for me. I'm going to have to ask the technicians whether you're sitting in a live spot or not. If any technician is listening to me at the moment, can you check for me? I'm not able to give you a response, Mr Agnew, about where you're sitting. I'm getting some signals from technicians, and they're saying, yes, you are being filmed. Be reassured.
Thank you. It's quite clear that what lies behind these documents is a desire on the part of those in favour of a federal Europe to establish a European army. First, it must be noted that what is going on here is the establishment by stealth of the infrastructure for the formation of such an army. The ostensible objective is expressed as mutual assistance in the event of some emergency in one of the member states, and that this is all justified under the treaties. But the reality is that this is a large stepping stone on the way to forming a European army. Secondly, what in the eyes of the Federalists is the real purpose of such an army? To answer this, it is necessary to view the question through the prism of the Treaty of Lisbon. Much of that treaty was dedicated to establishing the exclusive right of the EU to conduct the foreign affairs of all its member states. Thus we have an embryonic Minister for Foreign Affairs and a vast and very expensive vanity project called the European External Action Service. We have an embryonic diplomatic service and the goal, a common foreign security and defence policy. And where does all that lead? In the end, it will lead in precisely the direction foreseen by Karl von Clausewitz. And he said, war is merely the continuation of politics by another means. If you are to have a common foreign and security policy, you have to have the means to back it up. If not, you are merely a dead sheep. An army is therefore an essential ingredient of conducting a common foreign and security policy, no matter that since the Second World War, the real guarantor of peace has been NATO, led by the United States and resolutely supported by its long-time ally, my country, the United Kingdom. So the Federalists must find a way of creating such a force. These documents are about that ambition. In the usual weasel way, it is dressed up to look like something else. But when you have, as there is in these documents, the suggestion that there should be a permanent EU operation headquarters, you must envisage that in due course there will be EU operations, and for operations you need an army. Let us be absolutely clear here. There is zero support in the United Kingdom for the creation of a European army. There is no mandate from the British people for the creation of such a thing. The British MEP who is behind this knows that full well. Make no mistake as to where this is all leading. If the Federalists get their way, in time young British men will be summoned to the front by an elected and unaccountable European elite where they will be expected to die, not for Queen and country, but for Herman Van Rompuy and the occupants of the Berlaymont building. And by the way, a last thought, the ultimate nightmare must surely be when the EU takes control of UK's Trident nuclear deterrent and France's Forster Frapp, as is implicit in the final achievement of a common foreign and security policy. Then it will be Herman Van Rompuy's finger on the button. And I conclude by addressing Andrew Duff with a question, one which will surely be of interest come the 2014 elections for this Parliament. Andrew, what mandate do you have from your electors to advance any of this? Thank you.
NATO is twice enshrined in the Article 42 as the organisation of the collective or common defence of the vast majority of the member states of the EU. And we are not seeking to suborn that or to substitute NATO by creating an integrated military force of the EU. I think that has to be made absolutely clear, because it's quite clear that the British populist press is to distort this. If they had read the Treaty of Lisbon more scrupulously, then I think this false fear would not have been provoked. And I think we have to put that canard back in the box. The Treaty of Lisbon does not prescribe a common defence policy. It says that should political developments arise that make such a thing feasible and agreeable to a certain number of member states, that is permitted. And the form of all that is the thing we describe as permanent structured cooperation in defence. But that is not the focus of, or the purpose of this report. Chairman, I think that we should be clear that what we're looking for, trying to define, is a federal economic government for a fiscal union. I also believe you can't have a proper parliament before you have a proper government. I would like us to ask the European Council to commit itself in December to the calling of a convention in the spring of 2015. We all know that we're not going to be able to have one beforehand, and we know that treaty reform, as Mr Gualtieri points out, is absolutely necessary in the end, and as soon as possible to codify the crisis management measures which we've been taken to address the mess that we are in, and to define more credibly this thing that I describe as a federal economic government, whose principal feature, in my view, must be a Treasury Secretary. And we need, I think, to begin to flesh out his, or is it her, powers and the instruments that it will have.
Mr Agnew, I think on a point of order.
Point of order. You've said there's no time to discuss items 6 and 7 on the agenda today. Will there be another opportunity to do this? Thank you.
No, perché abbiamo fissato.
Well, no, since we've got the voting tomorrow on them, and either we postpone the voting or we simply have a brief comment by the rapporteur. And I think that with item 7 as well, we're not going to be able to have a discussion for that matter. And what this really means is that we have to confine ourselves with that. If you want to comment on Mr Tchaikovsky's introduction, you have the floor. We've got perhaps 5 minutes left for this item.
Yeah.
That's very good of you, Chairman. This won't take 5 minutes, but I do want to focus on two aspects of the proposals for the EU seizing control of national budgets. Firstly, a desire for what is described enhanced cooperation in the field of taxation. Cooperation is a complete misnomer. Where you have a fully integrated budgetary system, that system will not function properly if there is a wide range of variation in tax rates. It will be an essential feature of this system that no country will be allowed to set its own tax rates and thus engage in anything so sordid as tax competition. Harmonisation will not be a consensual process, it will be imposed. Those member states that have low tax rates or which are regarded as showing anything less than 100% solidarity will be given short shrift and will be told to raise their tax rates. For example, Ireland's 12.5% corporation tax is already in the sights of some here. Ireland will be told to raise it. The ability exclusively and independently to set tax rates is a classic function of national governments and national parliaments. But when national governments and parliaments cease to have an effective and final say on what should be taxed and at what rate, then the existence of that state as a sovereign independent state is at an end. The people of Europe must wake up to this and realise that their democratic rights are about to be plundered and stolen by the political elite of the European Union. Once they get their hands on this power, they will never give it up, and they will be absolutely immune to the normal democratic means of accountability, which is for the taxpayers to eject them at the next election. The process of government by technocrats, begun in Greece and Italy, will be institutionalised, and it will be permanent. Independent nation states in charge of setting their own budgets and tax rates will be history. I will stop it there. I was going to go on. Thank you for that opportunity, Chairman.